Okay, guys. Didn't get to see the game Saturday. Um, so this video is a little late. Had to watch the replay online. Not like I had a lot of anticipated fans just chomping at the bit to see this video or anything. Um, but 34-7, pretty impressive game in some regards. For Texas, though, there's still a lot of unanswered questions for Texas fans all over the place. A lot of unanswered questions that didn't really show any signs of getting answered throughout the course of this game. Defensively, we looked really good, and we did a great job of shutting down a very headsy quarterback. Obviously he's still playing for Wyoming, so he's no Garrett Gilbert or name the quarterback, but he's still very smart, very intelligent, headsy guy. And we did a pretty good job. It was more of a contained defense as far as the passing game went that we did. We really shut the run down well, though. I was impressed with that. But one thing we really need to work on is penalties. Come on, penalties. Penalties in football. Committing too many penalties in football is like missing too many free throws in basketball. You cannot win if you can't make your free throws in basketball, and you can't win if you commit too many penalties in football. It's just simple stuff. It was a little bit frustrating because there's one drive. Wyoming didn't end up scoring, but they took up like 7 or 8 minutes of the clock just going down the field, and we had an offsides penalty, a pass interference penalty, and a roughing the passer penalty. We actually had 2 offsides penalties, and that's just off the top of my head. They didn't end up scoring, but against a team like Texas Tech, they're going to get into the end zone. Against a team like Oklahoma, they're really going to get into the end zone. They're really going to make us pay for that. We cannot do that. Also, the fact that we have seen to have, last week against Rice, there was 2 times where there's a zone read and we have to just sort of let the quarterback scramble on out of the pocket for a huge gain. And not scramble, I guess, if it's a zone read, but take it on the option himself and run for a big gain. Here again, we gave up an 18-yard touchdown run. If we play a team like Texas A&M with a guy like Gerard Johnson, that's really going to kill us. But defensively, we have time to work, and I don't have a doubt in my mind that Will Muschamp's defense will eventually, get these small kinks worked out, and eventually begin to flex its muscles. Offensively, this team is like it seems like a runny nose offensively. Sometimes it's better than other times. We punted like 5-6 times this game, and we're playing against Wyoming. You can't punt that much against Wyoming. I'm looking at the stats now. 5 times. We punted 5 times this game, and guys got a pretty good punting average, but we punted 5 times. Wyoming punted 6. That's not a good sign. But it's because this team doesn't really know what they are offensively. I was really hoping that Garrett Gilbert could have the reins handed to him a little bit in this game. In a video I watched of Cowboy TD previewing this game as well, he said he wanted to see Gilbert throw the ball a lot. He threw the ball 35 times this game. Completed 22. That's pretty impressive for a first-year starter. I was really impressed with some of the decisions that Gilbert made as far as just being in the pocket. And some of the maneuvering he did in there he's really smart using his head. Really pleased to see that, but offensively we really don't have a consistency. We ran the ball pretty well. I got the stats up here in front of me. We had 3 rushing touchdowns and ran for 167 yards, but that was as a team. We don't have that one running back that's really stepping in and proving himself. Newton did a decent job in the first game, and now Whitaker in this game, and Johnson did pretty much what you would have expected in the first game. And in this game too, for only 9 carries, got 46 yards. That's pretty good. But these are 3 completely different styles of running backs, and one is going to have to step up eventually if we're going to have the success in the running game. There's nothing wrong with having 3 backs that you can run, but one is going to have to show themselves as the dominant primary back, and then the other 2 will just be, in on some formations and really breather backs. And honestly, I think that back is probably going to end up being Fozzie Whitaker, the back who really establishes himself as being the main back. It's probably going to be Whitaker, and he's probably going to get to start next week against Texas A&M, but we need to have that one back that can do it. And something else that really worried me, is in the passing game, it looks like we did pretty well as far as the stats go. John Childs had 4 receptions for 37 yards. Mike Davis unexpectedly came up, had a good game. Malcolm Williams still got two grabs out there, and so did Kirkendall. But where are the leaders on this team, on the receiving corps? The senior leaders, James Kirkendall, John Childs, Malcolm Williams. He's not a senior, but he's a leader of this receiving corps. He's supposed to be the best receiver on the team. He certainly got the size for it, and he's got 2 grabs for 14 yards. We can't have a freshman being the guy who steps up and helps rescue us in the passing game. It can't happen. I'm pleased that he's willing to get his feet wet and go out there and do what he needs to help the team. Mike Davis looked good out there, but where's Kirkendall? Where's Williams? And talk about a guy really good one. Didn't even have a grab in this game. Where was he at? He had a run for 9 yards because Texas is trying to work that wide receiver reverse in there a little bit, but some guys are going to have to get involved because we have to have a go-to guy. Obviously, we're not going to have a Quan Cosby or Jordan Shipley or Limas Sweet or Roy Williams, but we need to have that guy that we can consistently look at to go to. And last week Goodwin was that guy, and also Malcolm Williams, who really stepped up and played pretty decent games, but we didn't pass that much. In this game, we really need to play in third downs. We went to Mike Davis, but this guy's a freshman. He's not going to be like this all year. We need Williams or Kirkendall or Childs to really step up and show themselves, support themselves as one of the leading guys on this team. It's the guy who's willing to go out there and become someone who's going to take a game over, who's going to say, like what Shipley did in the championship game, I'm going to get open, so just give me the ball. That bothered me as much as anything. I like seeing the freshman get anxious and go out there and play a good game early on in his career, but you gotta have some of the guys that are supposed to be step up. But Gilbert played pretty well. Happy with that. As the season goes on, I think hopefully we'll sort of get our running game worked out. And our defense really doesn't need to improve that much. It has a few tiny kinks that they need to work out, but other than that, they seem good and solid. They seem like a Will Muschamp defense. Offensively, got to get a few things figured out though. But looking forward to the game next week in Lubbock. Hook 'em horns all the way, and look forward to the rest of the season.